Warning! Natasha asked us to tell everybody that SHWORBLES are a fictional animal. I repeat, SHWORBLES are not real. Do not go Googling SHWORBLEs.
Dr. SHWORBLE was interested in the species of SHWORBLE known as Conorchis johnsonus. This species can be found in of a Connor Johnson. He was curious if the gummus shape is heritable after the tragic change that occurred on June 6, 1944, when the gummus shape developed into a spike shape from the dominant smooth shape due to stresses and explosions occurring as they stormed the beaches of Normandy.
Over thousands of SHWORBLES died on the beaches that day, mostly from sites that keep them being built like right among our children.
The smooth bauble is the dominant phenotype and existed for generations. However, the bilobed baubles became present as a response that the SHWORBLES had going to Las Vegas and gambling. This caused them to create a bilobed bauble due to the dedication they discovered as they hit a max win on Sweet Bonanza by pragmatic play. Any SHWORBLE with a bilobed bauble have an affinity for gambling and are that much closer to hitting it big.
When undergoing a two-point test cross with a homozygous recessive SHWORBLE, the F2 generation will have 4 phenotypes in a 1:5 to 1:5 ratio, with the higher number being identical to the F1 generation. The recombinant progeny do not match the parents and are in lower ratio.
Hi there. My name is Dr. SHWORBLE. Do you know which phenotype is dominant and recessive? Can you help me out with this?
Based on these beautiful diagrams of both SHWORBLE phenotypes and their genes, we can logically deduce the traits as follows. So for the gumbus, since he has a positive allele for this trait and the gumbus is smooth, we can automatically assume that this is a dominant trait. And likewise, we can confirm that by going over here and seeing that the gumbus is spiked as a recessive trait. And the same goes for the bauble. We can see that the bauble here is smooth, so it must be a dominant trait. And the bauble here is bilobed, so it must be a recessive trait.
There was another question I had about this. Do you know if the genes for gumbus and baubles are linked? How can you tell if the traits are linked or not?
If the traits were unlinked, the ratio would be 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 in progeny. You know it is linked if the recombinants make up for less than 50% of the total number of progeny. Therefore, it can be assumed that the genes are linked.
I was getting my numbers mixed up on this one. Do you know what the recombination frequency is of the F2 progeny?
If you add the recombinant progeny together and divide it by the total number of progeny, you can find the recombinant frequency. So if you add 162 and 242 together, divided by 2132 and multiplied by 100%, then you will find the recombinant frequency to be 18.94%. This suggests that the genes are linked.
Lastly, I don't know what a gene map is. Would you be able to draw the gene map for this 2-point cross? How will we do it?
To create a gene map, you will find that the map distance between the gene G and gene B is 18.94 map units. They can go in either direction, which is a very fun trait that 2-point crosses have. But that is the only good part about them. The 3-point test crosses are way cooler.
And there you have it. Now we know that the bauble and gumbus for the SHWORBLES are linked genes, which is interesting to think because they are adapted from World War II. And gambling on the Sweet Bonanza slot machine.
This might be the most miserable thing I've ever done in my life.
2-point crosses, they kinda suck. 3-point crosses actually rock. Dr. SHWORBLE, we learned a lot. The different phenos, bilobe is hot.